Acredita, acredita. Gauss nosso que estás no céu, junto ao Fischer, perdoai achar causalidade em todas as nossas correlações. Os box plots nossos de cada dia nos dai hoje e que identifiques outliers para que possamos eliminá-los. Amém.
Exponencial, né? Tecnologia exponencial, né? Modelagem estatística, a gente sempre vai errar.
Oi pessoal, tudo bom? Eu me chamo Rebeca, sou estudante de graduação em Estatística na Universidade Federal de Juiz de Fora e eu também fui aluna da comunidade de Estatística do professor Thiago Marques. Estou aqui para falar para vocês que esse curso me ajudou muito. Ele foi um excelente aliado no meu crescimento profissional. E eu aprendi muitas coisas como técnicas de análise, manipulação de dados no R, que com certeza eu vou usar em todas as análises que eu fizer na minha profissão. Eu gostaria de dizer que o investimento desse curso vale muito a pena. O acesso dele é totalmente vitalício. O Thiago está sempre atualizando o curso com novidades e também propondo lives semanais sobre o universo dos cientistas de dados. Eu garanto que vocês não vão se arrepender. Faça já a sua inscrição. Um abraço.
Opa, muito boa noite a todos e a todas. Sejam muito bem-vindos e muito bem-vindas aqui ao Estatidados, né? As nossas lives aqui da comunidade estatística. Então, você que chegou aí agora não faz ideia, né? Vou contextualizar um pouquinho aqui para vocês, né? Então, o projeto aqui nasceu lá dentro da minha comunidade estatística, né? Que é um ecossistema completo para você aprender estatística, né? E eu convidava profissionais para falar, né, sobre determinados assuntos, né, que interessavam os meus alunos, e aí a gente expandiu isso aqui para os Estatidados, né? Então a gente tem aí hoje, né, Machine Learning, Web Scraping, Blockchain, Estatística, Big Data, Chatbots, Scala, Hadoop, Python, IoT, R, Julia, né? Você tem aí mais de 500 vídeos, mais de quase 28 mil inscritos, né, no canal, 100 professores colaboradores aí, até mais, né, no Brasil e do mundo, né? E alguns apoiadores que nos ajudam aí a manter as lives e tudo mais, né? E alguns voluntários também que nos ajudam, nos ajudaram nesse processo, né? A gente é bem ativo aí nas redes, né? Então, sigam aí o Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, né? E hoje, pessoal, é uma live especial, né? Uma live internacional, nossa quarta live internacional aqui no Estatidados, né? E é muito especial, né? Porque é um cara fantástico, né, que compartilha muito conhecimento de qualidade, né? E vou ler aqui então a apresentação aqui. Então, he said that I've previously held titles of sales executive, data science consultant, and now course creator to teach my knowledge. My main tool is R. I've developed several software libraries active over 1.5 million downloads combined, but it took me 5 years old to learn R. This is why I have focused my helping on teaching others how to master R, Shine, time series in data science so they can achieve career success. Yeah. My talk is on my R package Modeltime, where we will see how we can develop forecasting systems fasting using the Tidymodels ecosystem of tools. So come here, Matt Dancho. It's a very special live for us, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
love your job. Thank you very much.
thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Thiago. It's a pleasure.
Oh, great, great. So I've talked about your curriculum. I know that is extensive, yeah, but you can complement it, yeah, and feel free to share your slides with us, yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
So we have a nice presentation today I put together for everyone. This presentation is going to be on the time series forecasting suite of tools that I have been working on and been putting together. And it's basically going to be showing you, all of the cool technologies that are coming about inside of this forecasting system. So it is, if you're familiar with the Tidyverse, that'll help with this presentation, but it's not mandatory, as this presentation is good for beginners and experts alike. So I'll get started. Agenda for today, I'll first go through a little bit of background about my journey to R. I think it's good to give you a little bit of context why you should listen to me, and there may be some similarities with what you're going through out there. Then what I'll do is talk about the problem at hand, which is forecasting. It has changed. I'll talk about what has changed in a minute. And then we'll talk about the solution, which is Modeltime and TimeTK, these software packages that I have built. And then we'll also talk about the Modeltime ecosystem. It's a growing ecosystem of tools. And if you stay to the end, I will give you a free gift too. So my free gift to everybody. I don't know, Thiago, is it possible to put links into the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a private chat. Yeah. So
Okay.
you can put there, and I send to the people.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So this gift that I'm going to give
everybody. Did you find it?
Did you? Yes. Yeah, I see it here.
Okay.
Yep. So what I'll do is I'll start putting links in when they're appropriate. This one we'll give away at the end. It's kind of a bonus for people to stick around because.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah. Because it's actually really valuable. So I'm going to give away this thing that I put together. It's called the Ultimate R Cheat Sheet. It contains literally, the R ecosystem is so large. It's like 20,000 packages. So this consolidates it and pares it down to the 100 best packages. And it saves you years of trying to figure out what to focus on. And it also, we'll see this at the end of the presentation when I give it away. It breaks down the packages by category. So if you're interested in time series or finance or big data or machine learning, if you're going to work in any of these fields, it shows you which packages you should focus on. So you'll get this at the end of the presentation. All right, a little bit about my journey. I am an early adopter of R. I kind of lucked into it. We'll talk about my background here in a second. But I was so lucky to have learned R back. I started when I was, we'll say around 2012 timeframe, and it was kind of before the hype of data science quite became what it is today. So I got lucky. So just a little bit of background. I was working at a company. The name of that company is Bonnie Forge. That company manufactured valves and equipment. However, I was just a small part of that company. I was managing a team of 4 mechanical engineers at the time. My job was okay. I was a little bit kind of bored with what I was doing. I went on vacation with my wife. I got a phone call on vacation that from executives at Bonnie Forge saying that my boss had left the company. And when I came back, I got thrown into a role managing a small technical sales group, and I didn't know anything about technical sales. So I was kind of thrown to the wolves here a little bit. I was excited. I was nervous. And you can imagine, it was just a big transition for me. So I want to give you a specific use case for why I made that transition into R. So I was stuck in Excel. I was responsible as part of this new program for a weekly sales report that went to the CEO of the company. My tool of choice was Excel. I was really good with it. I had spent the past 10 years using it for a lot of like engineering and doing regressions and all sorts of stuff. I had a very nice sales dashboard that I spent a lot of time putting together for this weekly sales report. Had all sorts of things in it, slicers, pivot tables, and everything, if you're familiar with Excel. And it was great. It worked. That is until it didn't. So just before one of my weekly calls with the CEO, I got this thing called a blue screen of death. I don't know if you've ever experienced this in Excel. It's very frustrating, especially when you're on a phone call with the CEO, right? So, this was very uncomfortable for me. I actually had to apologize to the CEO on the phone call in front of like all of the other VPs of the company. And then beyond that, in the weeks continuing, Excel kept doing this to my computer, kept locking up. So I found out what the issue was. The data sets I was pulling into Excel were too large. So I had to make a decision. So what did I do? I took matters into my own hand. All right. I wanted to be take control of my destiny. Right. So I actually gave up on the 10 years of learning Excel that I had been spending on, mastering this tool, doing everything from VBA, Visual Basic, and integrating that through Excel. And I gave that up and I transitioned to R. So why did I do this? I did it because Excel was unreliable and R was a lot of fun. So there was a lot of cool things. So let's talk about here about what I was able to do with learning R. So step one in my career, I fixed the weekly sales report. So I found out that R could slice and dice that data, no problem. The thing that was giving me that blue screen of death that went away, R saved the day there. So I never had another issue with that. Step two, I found out that my company had issues with decision making. Excel wasn't helping that. So I used R to analyze our technical sales quotations, and I found out just using some basic logistic regressions in R that we could predict which quotes we'd win before we quoted. So this small sales team that I knew nothing about, this technical sales group, we ended up growing that from 3 million a year to 15 million per year, which was a 5x return over the course of about 2 years. So that was pretty crazy growth. And the superpower there was R. Step three, so increasing the sales 500% got the attention of the CEO. Surprise, once you start increasing sales. So this led to my first promotion and a direct line of reporting to a CEO. And then step four, I just kept repeating that. So I kept providing actionable insights to the CEO that I was reporting to. I came up with a new fast track program that grows 6 million in its first year. I also led the effort on engineered solutions, and my predecessor just shared that they had started winning some projects there. So the fact of the matter is, I was getting all of this recognition just because I was providing these actionable insights, whether it was forecasts, whether it was some of these new products that we wanted to develop, whether it was a technical sales, being able to predict which quotes and focus our efforts on which quotes in order to be able to win them. And the bottom line is I was thrust into this leadership position because everyone thought I was a genie that just, everything I touched turned to gold. But the reality is that R was behind everything. So, this is kind of the lesson that I learned. Just to kind of recap, I went from managing 4 people in the beginning of my career to managing 60 people by the end. My salary doubled over that time span of 2 years. Word started spreading about my reputation with R. I also started to do a little bit of socializing and doing some open source software work. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then that led to even more opportunities. People began asking me to do consulting. I was a little bit apprehensive at first. Consulting was never really something that I wanted to get into, but it did open my doors to consulting, and eventually it led to me finding my passion for teaching. And just to show you kind of how that progression went, I started to go to some of these conferences. Here's me speaking at one of the R Finance conferences. I was talking about one of my first R packages that I ever created called Tidymodels. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. It's almost up to 700,000 downloads. And it's, centered around financial analysis. I never in a million years thought it would take off the way it did. And it's really just been an honor to be able to give back to the community. And it also opened up those doors to consulting and doing some really cool things. The same thing with Time TK and Modeltime. So time series analysis is one of the areas that I focused on at my old job, and it helped us improve our forecast. So I never had anything as good as Time TK and Modeltime. So I began developing this a couple of years ago. The time series analysis system, Time TK, you can see right here, 1.1 million downloads. It's just absolutely taken off. and people were using it. So that's afforded me some opportunities to speak at prestigious companies. Here's an example. S&P Global invited me on site to teach them. We see a room here of about 10 or so data scientists, and we have another, I think, 50 or so, because they're a global company. So they have data scientists all throughout the world. We were training about, I think, 60 or 70 data scientists. So this is me in their New York City office. This is me again here on day 2 of that workshop where we were teaching them. And then they even liked it enough that they invited me to London. So this was a year later in London, teaching their London office how to do data science. So it's really been kind of a blessing to learn R. But I want to bring it back to, instead of focusing on me, I want to focus on you, because after, this is why you should listen to me, is after, listen to this talk today, you're going to learn some of the same tools, and even actually more advanced tools than what I had access to. And these are the same tools that got the attention of my CEO, helped me 2x my salary, increase the impact on the company by growing my leadership position from 4 people to eventually 60 people by the end, and also allowed me to get into consulting, which eventually led into the open source and me finding my passion for teaching. So stick around, guys. We're going to go through some amazing content today. Let's do this. All right. All right. So let's talk about forecasting and what's changing. This is what I noticed here. I noticed it back when I was working at Bonnie Forge. We were a small company, but I could see that our data was growing so fast. And this is actually why I had to transition out of Excel. So even a small company by 2021 or so, they probably have 1 million time series, meaning 1 million customers, or maybe they don't have that many customers. But if you think about all the different combinations of customer X buys product Y, and that generates, this is all the timestamps that they've ever purchased that product. So these are all time series, and all these combinations create many, many time series. That's almost too much to handle for traditional methods. So this is really the issue that I saw, is that data growth and the combinations of time series end up increasing exponentially. So even a small company, has 10 to the 6th time series. If you think about all of these different combinations, and then you go to a medium company. So a medium company, and these are all companies that you probably have never heard of, like Bonnie Forge. I would categorize them as a medium company. They probably have 10 to the 9th time series now. And then large companies. So these are the ones that you have heard of. So like the Apples, the Googles, JP Morgans, Caterpillar. These guys, they're all at 10 to the 12th time series. So the problem is that the amount of data they have and the number of combinations of products, customers, and territories and regions, these are causing time series to grow very rapidly. And it increases exponentially with the size of their organization. So this is the problem that we have to solve. And this is where we need to learn some new tools. So I'm going to give you an example. This is something I built a while back. So this is actually an app. So I'm combining here. I just want to give you an example of combining Modeltime with Shiny. So Modeltime is the forecasting framework that I ended up developing as the solution. And then when you pair it with Shiny, you can package it up as an app that organizations can use. So I'll just do a quick demo. I have this app. It's snoozing. I got to refresh this. So give it a second here. But this is a Shiny app that I built. It's codenamed Nostradamus because it's after the philosopher that could predict the future, supposedly. And if you want to see get an actual example of TimeTK and Modeltime doing their thing, this is the thing that TimeTK does. So TimeTK allows us to process our time series data and make visualizations and get it into the format that we need to be able to do time series analysis. So all of these charts and everything, this is the time series group summary. So turns out that there's 7 groups in here. And this is giving you some summary data on each of those time series group. That's a function in TimeTK. This is the time plot. We'll actually talk about this, the function that makes this plot in this lesson, in this talk. And you can see we're graphing over time each of the time series that are in this data set. You can make seasonality plots. You can do anomaly plots with time TK. And then this is autocorrelation if you're familiar with time series analysis. So that's kind of like what time TK does. Think of it like visualizations and data wrangling. That's what we're going to focus on. And then the model time component is then taking whatever data set that you're connected to. So this is that. And what we can do, I'm going to crank this up to 52, and I'm going to click this run the forecast button. So what it's doing is it's making a bunch of models right now, and that's what time TK allows us to do. So it's taking that time series data that we've kind of prepared with time TK, and then we're going to make a forecast here. Now it does take a little bit. It's got to fit a bunch of different models. Right now it's making an ensemble model, and then it's refitting and then forecasting the feature. So you can see some of the top models here. The top model was this ensemble weighted, and that's what's shown here, but it made a bunch of different models. The next best was this profit with XG Boost, and then this ensemble is using an 80%, 16%, and then 3% Earth to get the best model. And you can see that the forecast it makes, it looks pretty good overall. It doesn't. It seems to be getting kind of the repeated pattern. So we just predicted all 7 of these time series at once with a single model, and that's one of the cool things about that you can do with model time. All right, so that's the use case.
Are you using Baggy and Boosty there?
So I'm using model time includes a bunch of different algorithms. This profit with XG Boost is one. XG Boost, it turns out XG Boost actually does really good on this data set. And then the profit with XG Boost does a little bit better. So, and then what we're doing is we're doing a weighted average where you've got 80% of this model here, 16% goes to this model, and then 3% goes to this model. And then just sum it up. And that's what we call the weighted average ensemble. And that's what we're seeing here. It's kind of like a blend. Good question, Thiago. That's how that works. So let's talk about model time and time TK. Let's dive into it. Basically, overall, what this ends up being, and the reason I designed it is I wanted to have a scalable system for forecasting and performing time series analysis. So I started building out kind of a framework, and this looks a little complicated, but at the end of the day, what I did was I tried to kind of divide it into 2 packages where we've got time TK that handles kind of the upfront stuff. And then at the back end here, we've got model time. So model time does the modeling and the refitting and then the future forecasting. So if you look at this this kind of workflow, we don't touch importing. So that's all handled in whatever tool you're doing. Just import CSV files, whatever, get it into R, connect to a database, pull your data in. And then that's when time TK kind of takes over. So it helps you simplify the data. It's got like dplyr data wrangling tools. It helps you extend the data so you can make a future forecast. It helps you add things like lags or engineered features or bring in event data, and then get the data ready for modeling. And then model time kind of takes over right here, where you've got your modeling, your parameters, your residuals, your confidence, refitting on the final data, and then forecasting the future. Okay, so the idea here, we don't want any compromises. We want to have an end-to-end workflow. The only part that we don't touch of the workflow is importing the data, but we take over from there. It's scalable. It doesn't matter if you're forecasting 1 time series or 1,000, you're able to do it with this framework. It implements the best algorithms, things like XG Boost, Profit, and even better algorithms than those. We'll talk about Gluon TS for deep learning in a little bit. And then it's tidyverse compliant. So if you're familiar with the tidyverse like dplyr and ggplot2, it'll feel right like home. So it's really kind of just fits right into that system. All right, first thing, let's talk about time TK. We'll dive into the nuts and bolts here. Here, I want to actually share a link with you guys. Let me put this into the chat. So the first one is the time TK documentation. And this is, I'll pull it up here in a second, but I just sent it to the chat, Thiago, if you want to share that with
Okay.
them. And then I'll open it up over here. So this is a really good place to start. If you're just getting familiarized with Time TK, there's a getting started here. And what this does is it focuses on like the visualization, which in my mind, that's like one of the key things that you need to do with time series analysis. So you'll see like all sorts of different ways that you can visualize. It primarily focuses on one of the functions that we'll talk about, plot time series. But believe me, there's a lot to this package. If you go to the API and then I went to the function reference, like if you just scroll down here, there's plotting time series. So we'll talk heavily about this one. We're going to skip these, but these are really nice for analyzing time series. We'll talk about summarize by time, which is probably the number one used function in this entire package. I analyze my website traffic, and I constantly see people looking at this. In fact, there's probably people right now looking at it. But there's a whole series of data frame operations. These are kind of like extensions to dplyr. We'll check out an example of Slidify here in a second. There's vectorize. This is new. This is actually only available in the development version, but I've now integrated the TS features package by Rob Hinman that's now in Time TK. We'll talk about this function right here in a minute, this augment Slidify, and I'll show you what that does. But there's a lot of other functions, so way too many to go through it all in this call. Okay, so at a high level, what is Time TK? So Time TK is for plotting, for data wrangling, for doing lags and transforms, for doing feature engineering, and then scaling with groups. So it respects anytime you do a group by with dplyr, it allows you to kind of scale your analysis up. So I actually have a small tutorial. I hope this works. So can you guys see my R code session?
Yes, we can
Okay.
see. Can you just put a little biggest?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If we go to zoom in, yeah, I can zoom in a little bit. Is that better?
Thank you.
Is that better? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I want to give you guys all today just kind of an example of Time TK. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load in 4 libraries, the Tidyverse, Tidyquant, this FANG data set comes from Tidyquant, and then Time TK, which is the workhorse package. And then I'll also use Lubridate, which is working for date, working with date classes. So you would load up these, and then you get the FANG data set, which comes with Tidyquant. And you can see here that it's stock data. So if you're any finance people in the audience, this will be kind of familiar. You've got a symbol, a date, and then what we'll be focusing on is this adjusted value, which is the stock price. And we're going to make cool plots like this real quick. So I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to work with Time TK. If I just take my FANG, and there's a bunch of different symbols in here. There's actually Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. And you can see it's 4,000 rows. So we're going to summarize this data and plot it. So we're going to first group by symbol, and this is just doing a normal dplyr group by. And then you can pipe that right into plot time series, and it will respect your groups when we go to plot. The only thing that you need to remember to provide is this facet end call, because if you have a lot of groups, like say you have 8 time series or 10 time series, you don't want them stacked all on top of each other. So this will give us 2 columns worth, but you can easily increase this up to 3 or 4 if you have more time series. I'm first going to do it without this color bar because I think this is cool to see. So right here, just real quickly, I have it in Plotly, so you see how it's interactive. What I'm going to do is also do .interactive equals false. So if you're making a report, like you don't want to have an interactive plot, you'd rather have a static plot. So this will return a ggplot. This is now static. See, I can't click on it. But if I go back to the viewer, this is the interactive version. So we're going to set this back as true. And then one of the cool things you can do is it has this .color variable. So if we go back to this viewer, you see like one of the things you might want to do is identify different regimes in your time series. So here's a quick and easy way to do that. if I do .color var, and if I take the date variable, which is just this date variable, and I can actually pass a function in here to extract the year from each of these dates, and I can just supply that here in my color var. And what that'll do is it'll change up the color by year. So now I've got blue, red, blue for 2013, red for 2014, green for 2015 and 26, and gold for 2016. So pretty cool. You can kind of play around with it. Next, let's talk about summarize by time. So this is probably, again, the most popular function in the package. Typically you have like very granular data. Like this is a daily data set, but what you want to do is you want to aggregate it up by week or by month or by quarter. And so what we'll do is we'll show you how easy it is to aggregate this time series. Now, since we're working with stock data, you don't want to add all of these together, but rather you might just want to take like the first observation of each quarter. If we wanted to figure out kind of like what the trend is quarter over quarter or something like that. So you can quickly do that. And you can see now it's just by quarter, and you can see it's 64 by 3. So it's converted that 4,032 by 8 to, and we've done it by group. So for each of these groups, we now have just the first value for each of that quarter, each of those quarters. Okay. And if you want to do the last value, you can just switch this up to last. And it should work too. Yeah. So now we have the last value for each of the quarters. So it was 257. Now it's 266. So you can see it's indeed changed. And then you can actually combine this now with plot time series. So just like what we did before, we can run this through plot time series. And now you can see what it looks like by quarter and so on. So you've got the different regimes. And here's the beauty of it. Say quarter is 2 aggregated. You can just switch this to month, and then it'll do by month. And you can see now it's a little bit more granular, and so on. And you can even do things like by week. Okay. So yeah, that's how you summarize by time. Now for my advanced people, the people who want to like dive into time TK and really like get going, you can do some really cool stuff. So this is a neat function that I like to show off. It's this function called TK augment slidify. And what this does is it applies a sliding function. So the function we're going to apply is mean. So we're going to take a moving average. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can do quick moving averages, like lots of quick moving averages. So I have a period argument in here. And we got 1 to 9 times 28. So the reason I'm doing that, if we take a look at this data set, so check this out. It's a daily data set, and we can see here that each observation is a day. So I'm going to multiply it by 28. And I'm going to tell it to do a sequence of 1 through 9 different moving averages. And I'm going to vary those moving averages by basically adjusting the windows by a period. That is 1 to 9 times 28. So that'll be a 28-day moving average, a 56-day, an 84, all the way up to a 252-day moving average. So this is just normal code that would have probably taken like 50 lines of code to write a for loop and all of that stuff. It just simplifies that now. So if we group by, and again, it respects the dplyr groups, we're going to set partial equals true. So it'll even calculate partial moving averages for us. So let's check this out. And just that quick, we now have all of these moving averages now added in. And then what I'm going to do, so it's still grouped here. I'm going to ungroup. And then again, we're going to go and use plot time series. But before I do that, I have to pivot this longer because it's a wide data frame. And plot time series likes just like ggplot, it likes long data. So we're going to pivot longer. Anything that starts with adjusted, it's going to put here into the name, then it's going to give the value for each of these timestamps. And then we're going to group by again, and we're going to group by just the symbol column. So again, we're going to make 4 different plots here, grouping by symbol. And then we're going to give the color variable, instead of up here, like how we did the year date, what I'm going to do is the color variable is going to be the name. So we're going to get to see all of these different moving averages overlaid on top of each other. So let's run this, check it out. And if you see here, just that quickly, we've got all of these different time series kind of analysis features in here, and you can zoom in and see what each of the different moving averages look like overlaid on top of each other. And I know, like, my financial people, you'll love this, because like, what's one of the technical indicators you're looking for? It's when your 28-day crosses your 250, or your 84-day crosses your 252. So you want to know when like these moving average features are crossing, and you get that this easily with time TK.
It's amazing. It's so fast, yeah, to do complex things, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole mantra, right? Is try to speed you up by writing less code and by allowing you to think more about what you're trying to do and just apply it with time TK.
Yeah. We had two comments here.
Sure.
Carlos Eduardo said that very nice setup of your. I will copy.
Yeah, good. Yeah, please do. Copy away.
And a very good professor in Brazil said Ricardo Limonge said, awesome live. I'm big fan of Prof. Dancho.
Thank you. Well, I
Very
appreciate
nice.
it. Thank you guys so much. But we have more. We have more for you. So that's a little bit about time TK. You saw plot time series. You saw summarized by time, and then you saw like the using this TK augment Slidify, how we can do moving averages by group. Now I want to talk about model time. So model time is now the forecasting workflow. So time TK kind of handles like your features and being able to kind of prepare the data. But what model time does is it takes over and allows you to apply lots of different models to that time series data. So that's really the goal with model time, is to help you experiment faster and reduce the amount of code that it takes you to build a lot of different models. It's got this nice workflow to it. I don't know if you guys can see, it's probably some of these boxes are a little small, but like, basically you create a model time table, you then calibrate the data to a test set, and that gives you a test forecast and test accuracy that you can compare many different models. So like in this model time table here, we have 5 different models, and we would then generate test accuracy for all 5 of those models. And then you can rank them and pick which one is the best that you want. And then you can refit that data and forecast forward. So model time just kind of helps you along that process. Here's an example where we did some time series analysis on this time series data set. We applied an ARIMA, a linear regression, an Earth model, which is Mars, and then also a profit with XGBoost errors, which is more of like an advanced model. And then we were able to compare them very quickly and see, which one had the best mean absolute error. So the lowest is the best. And it turned out that linear regression on this one had the lowest. You can also see in root mean squared error. And you can see the best models from an R squared, which would be like your variance. So how well is it getting your spikes? You can see that the best model here, none of them are doing terribly well, and that's because you probably need some more features in here to get these massive spikes. But the ones that are doing best would be like your linear regression and your profit with XGBoost. And it just allows you to kind of do that pretty quickly. We can scale our efforts. So one of the things that I first implemented was this concept called panel data. So if you want to check that out, I'll give you guys a link here. I'm going to click on this and put this in the chat. So this is the model time documentation. And what this does is it helps you get up to speed very quickly. So this is like kind of what I was just talking about. If you guys want to check out like just a quick, hey, this is how it works. Unfortunately, we probably don't have enough time to go through this full example, but after this, I definitely encourage you to check this example out, and it'll show you how to build 6 different models, and then how to do like the forecasting with them. But there's a ton of articles in here. And the other one that I want to talk about is this time series at scale. There's 2 different methodologies. So we first just tackled what's called panel data. So that's this global modeling. You basically build one model, and you have like 1,000 time series, and it allows you to make 1,000 forecasts. Now, it's not as accurate as building a model for every single time series. Usually your iterative forecast will do a little bit better, but the advantage here is that it does very well, and it's much more efficient. It's faster to run, and you're able to scale it to hundreds of thousands of time series, assuming you have enough RAM, much easier than you would with an iterative forecast, and it takes a lot less time. So this if you want to check out for panel data, I'll put this also in the chat. This kind of goes through a quick tutorial there. So that's kind of why we developed Modeltime. The cool thing is that, there's been a lot of adoption of Modeltime, and people have been asking for like a ton of new features. So we really started growing Modeltime. So you can see this is actually turned into an ecosystem of packages. It's not just, Modeltime and TimeTK anymore. We now have Modeltime, but we also have, sub packages. One's for ensembles, one for back testing, one's for deep learning, and then the newest one is this H2O automated machine learning. That's pretty cool. So we'll talk about all of these. So again, Modeltime, which is your base package, and that gets you like all of the core functionality. So like the forecasting workflow, gives you access to popular algorithms like Facebook, Profit, ARIMA, XG boosted versions. And then it also does this thing called recursive forecasting. I'm not going to talk about that, but it can be pretty powerful. But what we started getting requests for was ensembles. And actually, this was also based on my research into what was winning the Kaggle competitions. All of the major Kaggle competitions were won on feature engineering, which we already had that in TimeTK. We already knew that. But ensembling many different techniques. So that's where this came from. You also need to be able to back test. So that's where resampling comes in. And then a lot of the major Kaggle competitions were being won by deep learning as well. So we implemented Glue-on-TS, which is actually a Python library. We decided to implement that into R using Modeltime Glue-on-TS. So I'll just quickly go through each one. I'll put the links in the chat. So if you guys want to check out Modeltime Ensemble, here's the documentation. Notice that each one of these have these getting started. So if you want to explore that more, just click the getting started and you'll get a quick tutorial. So I'll put that in the chat. So what is Modeltime Ensemble? All of this is basically, and I'll tell you what I use it for the most, this ensemble weighted function. So I do these weighted ensembles all the time where I try and figure out which is the best combination to weight. And I'll take my base learners and just kind of weight them based on like which one has the best RMSE. I'll give that a higher weighting and so on. But what it does is it allows you to combine your forecast into a super forecast. And if you notice, remember when I showed you that app, that ensemble weighted that one, and you can see that we're getting a 14% improvement over the best sub model. So these ensembles, they really help out a lot. Okay, the next one is Modeltime Resample. I'll put this link in the chat as well. Okay, so the Modeltime Resample, where this came about was a lot of people want to come up with what's called cross-validation plans for time series, and it can be a little bit of a kind of a pain. So Modeltime Resample helps you through that process by developing a format to apply your models to different sections of a time series. And this is kind of like, think about it like back testing. So you would train on this blue set and then predict it on the red, train on the blue, predict on the red, train on the blue. And this is all the same time series, but it's just kind of cutting different sections of it. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So basically you create a cross-validation plan, and then what you can do is each one of your models, you can see how they perform. You know, this is a mean absolute error. This is mean absolute percentage error. The RMSE is one that I use a lot, so we'll focus on this one. So you can see that slice number 1, all of the models overall tend to have a better RMSE, but you can see on average, this blue model, which is profit with XG boost errors, that one tends to be doing the best. And you can also see that here.
Nice.
It's great because you can actually see this in the accuracy table too. So what this does is it takes your average of 6 resamples and it computes the average RMSE on all 6 of these slices. So you can get kind of both a high level view, and then you can also look at each of the individual slices and see what's going on. So pretty cool. Then there's Model Time Gluon TS. So this is the deep learning. So if you're interested in this, definitely I will give you a pointer. My students always, because we've had to update Gluon TS a couple of times. We've recently migrated to Gluon TS 0.80, which has, they've made some breaking changes in that package. So make sure you follow the installation instructions. This will help you get that set up. There is a Python dependency. So if you've never used Python before, you'll have to set that up. But it's really cool. It allows you to use deep learning on your time series. And the nice thing about Gluon TS is it's very scalable. So it doesn't take much longer to do one time series than it does 100 time series. So you're able to scale it up very well. So that's the Model Time Gluon TS. And then the last package here, the newest one is Model Time H2O. So I'll put this one in the link, and you guys can check that one out as well. The advantage here is we can do what's called automated machine learning. So if you check out the Getting Started, it'll walk you through how to set up H2O locally. And then what we'll do is do what's called AutoML regression. So we're going to use H2O. We're going to exclude deep learning. Deep learning doesn't usually work that well with H2O. So I don't want to spend any time on that one. And then it computes a model. We fit that model. And then basically what it's doing is it's creating a stacked ensemble, or it's creating a leaderboard of all of the models. And then the stacked ensemble is what we'll end up going with, which did the best. You can make your predictions, and then you can make your forecasts on your test set and so on. So that's how it works. And it's, as you can see, the ecosystem is growing. For those who want to learn more, if you guys can stick around for just another 5 minutes or so. So we'll talk about the solution. The business need, though, the problem really in my mind is, companies need to scale. They need to both analyze a lot of time series, but they also need to be able to develop apps. So combining Model Time and Shiny, I think, is a really important idea. One that, if you're going to be doing time series analysis for your companies, you'll probably want to think about production as well, in addition to just the time series analysis component. So time series, I mean, there's a lot to learn. If you break it down, there's feature engineering, there's modeling and experimentation, tuning and cross-validation, and then scaling to thousands of time series. It can be a challenge. And this is one of the reasons that, I've really developed the system. But again, there's still a lot that you need to learn. It's kind of tough to dive right in and become an expert overnight. So, obviously there's a couple of different options. You can go back to school. That's an option A. Option B, you can do what I did. It took me, 5 years of trial and error. Now this was to learn R in general, but like even just over the past 2 years, it took me 2 years to really understand time series. And I've been doing time series forever. So, that's an option B, learning it yourself. In my opinion, these options kind of suck. And but there is a third option too, is if you want to learn more and if you want to have me as your mentor. Is anyone interested in seeing what that looks like? If you guys are interested, just let me know in the chat. Sorry, I can't see the comments here.
My student Marcelo Vieira said that, hey Matt, I'm your fan, please I would like to ask more than 25% discount. Like to ask on your 5 course program
Okay.
for us poor Brazilians willing to improve our skills.
Yes. Okay. Well, so he must be a member of the. So we just started doing the Black Friday discount. I can give you guys. I can't put that on recording, but after the link to this, let me do that. Let me do. I'll give you guys a couple of links if you want to do some of the courses. So the for those who are interested in seeing what this looks like, I have actually developed a system. I do want to put this out there. If you want to work with me, it's not it's not going to be an overnight thing. You need to be motivated. You need to be able to dedicate 10 hours per week for the next 8 weeks if you want to learn time series. And you got to be willing to follow my system exactly. And you also need to be able to reach out to me as soon as you get stuck. So if that sounds fair to everyone, then what we can do is talk about the courses. I've been really lucky. I've had some awesome people, awesome friends. I don't know if any of you know Jonathan Regenstein. He is the author of Reproducible Finance with R, but he's actually taken some of my courses. This was a while ago. I really like this. He put this on LinkedIn. And he says, I'm only about 10% through the material, and I already picked up a couple of super useful new moves. And we didn't talk about this on the call, pad by time. It's another time series function from TimeTK. So my point is this guy, he's an author of Reproducible Finance with R. He's the head of data and quantum mental research at Truist Securities. If he's getting these, awesome results, think about what it's going to do for you who may be a beginner. You might be intermediate, but maybe you've never tried time series before, or maybe you're a time series pro, but you're looking at migrating to Modeltime and TimeTK to really help out your organization and speed up the efficiency and productivity. So you're going to be able to do all of that stuff. It took me about a year to develop this course. It took me a solid 9 months to develop these pieces here. The feature engineering, which is 9 hours of content, covers everything in TimeTK, the visualization, data wrangling, transformations. It has 2 different challenges. And then we focus a lot on feature engineering, which is a critical part that we know from analyzing the Kaggle time series competitions. All 5 of the last time series competitions were won by people who used engineered features. So you have to be able to do that if you really want to develop a high quality forecasting system. So we have 3 hours on it. The machine learning, we spend a lot of time on the different algorithms. And I think this is good because it gets you repetitions using these algorithms. So we spend a lot of time talking about ARIMA, and then you're applying ARIMA, profit, exponential smoothing, and TBATs. Then you have another challenge on these machine learning algorithms. So you'll spend 4 hours. You'll learn algorithms like XGBoost, random forest, how to use that for time series with time series features. Then we move on to boosted algorithms. So this is combining ARIMA and XGBoost, profit and XGBoost, hyperparameter tuning, ensembling, and then scalability with time series groups. So this is the big win for your organization. You learn how to scale everything up. You go through a full analysis that takes probably about 2 or 3 hours of recorded content there. And then you learn deep learning, which is another one of the time series competition winning strategies. Not only just sticking with machine learning and ARIMA, those styles of algorithms, but also applying Gluon TS and some of these more advanced algorithms. But wait, there's more. I've recently begun adding bonus content. So I now have 5 new lessons and 7.5 hours of new content, and I'm going to add even more in here. But there's hierarchical forecasting. That's what you can see here. This is an hour training, hour plus training, like GBM, Cat Boost, XGBoost. You get to apply those to a hierarchical forecasting problem. Modeltime H2O. So you notice I didn't cover that in the main course. We have that now in the bonus section. We also cover recursive forecasting, which is using lagged features. So it's basically teaching you how to build models that are similar to like ARIMA, but using any algorithm. You're not limited to just a linear regression, which is what ARIMA uses, but you can use things like XGBoost with lagged features now. You can use random forest with lagged features. COVID-19, which is one of the big requests that we were getting, all of the companies, unfortunately, that had sales changes and dropped, during that COVID-19 period. How do we forecast and adjust our forecasts? That's what this lesson talks about. And then there's a new nested forecasting, which is the iterative forecasting. So instead of doing a panel data model where you have one global model, you do many models, one for each time series, and we now have that integrated. And as I add new features, basically how the bonus section goes is I just keep adding new lessons as I add new features to Modeltime. So you're always going to be getting new, fresh content. And then one more thing, there's a private Slack channel too, which I think is really important because like you don't think about this when you start a course, but like you get halfway through and you get stuck on an error. And then if you can't make it through that error, what do you do? So this is your way to get unstuck. You have direct access to me. You can ask me any questions. You can also learn time series from thousands of students that are taking the time series course right along with you, and you can network with them. And then also careers. I think this is a big thing because like just over the past week, I've put 3 new jobs that people are coming to me asking for data scientists. Where am I going to point them? So I'm pointing them right to the Slack channel, and then my students get early access to those careers. So what I want to do is, so we're going to go through this, but I'm going to give you guys a special link. Just do me a favor, Thiago. Cut this out of the, if you don't mind, can you please cut this out of the recording when you go to put it on? So I don't want people...
Can you put the link there?
Yeah, I'll put... Okay. Yeah. So let me go through this real quick. So you got a tremendous value here. The price of the course is $4.99, but like clearly there's a huge value to this system. And I know right now we have Black Friday going on. And Thiago, just make sure you cut this part out. I'm going to give you guys, instead of 15% off today, I'm going to give you guys 25% off for anyone who wants to join. We've got Black Friday that only lasts until midnight Friday. So let me
thank you very much.
Yeah, let me do this. Black Friday 2020.
It's amazing, people.
It really is a good system for. Yeah, it really is a good system for everyone. Here, just put the link in there, Thiago, if you want to share that with everybody. The big thing is that, this is the system. Like if you are serious about becoming an expert data scientist with time series, this is the thing that's going to help you speed up that process. So it'll take you about 8 weeks to complete it. And there's a lot of, there's like 40 hours of content in it, but it's going to help. It's going to help you big time. So that'll actually knock this price down from $425 to I think $375, which is the lowest it will ever be offered. And then for everyone that's stuck around, as promised, I'd like to give you guys all access to this cheat sheet. So let me copy this link address here. Thiago, you'll need to like copy and paste into the chat for them. It's gonna as soon as you click that link, it's gonna create a 2.13 megabyte download. So just watch what I'm doing here. And this is a freebie for you guys. So that'll open up this cheat sheet here. This thing is amazing. I'll tell you, it took me a long time to make this thing because what I've done, and I just released version 4.0 of this. I don't know if you can see that down there, but the way this thing works, so I keep updating it. And I just recently added like Plumber APIs. There's a new cheat sheet here. So this is like a meta cheat sheet. It links to other cheat sheets. So like if you want to learn Plumber, you just click the CS here, and then just like that, the Plumber cheat sheet just pops right up. So that's pretty cool. If you want to learn Tidymodels, you just click that and the Tidymodels documentation pops right up. So what this does is it consolidates all of those packages that 20,000 R packages. This consolidates it to the ones that I use most frequently. This first page is on importing, tidying, transforming, visualizing, modeling, and communicating. So this is like your normal everyday workflow.
It will help a lot. It's amazing. It's
Yes.
very, very nice.
And the second page is totally dedicated to Shiny. So anybody who's ever worked with apps in Shiny, this has all of the packages on here, all of the different themes and frameworks, and then some other really important things like Chrome Dev Tools. Like it shows you how to debug and do all sorts of different stuff with Shiny apps. And then the third one, so you guys are definitely going to be interested in the time series analysis. So what this third sheet does is it breaks it down by category and kind of shows you what packages belong to like different families, right? So if you're trying to get a job in time series analysis, these are the packages that I would start learning. If you need to learn exploratory data analysis, these are the packages. Financial analysis. So if you're going into finance, learn TidyQuant and QuantMod. And then some of these for plotting, certain types of time series data. Text analysis. I just added the SML TAR book. So we'll open this one. This one's really cool. This is a whole book that was just put out by Emil and Julia. They did amazing things on like how to stem text in R, how to
She's amazing.
How to do machine learning methods. I mean, their book is just outstanding, and it's just a link in this here, so you can see how much value is in this cheat sheet alone. So I want you guys to have this for free, enjoy it, and then
thank you very much.
All right. So other than that, are there any questions? You guys have the link to the course. You got the cheat sheet now. I'm here to answer any questions that you guys have on any of the content.
So Marcelo said, I'm still stuck in PDF to download button after interactive graphics in Flex dashboard.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I don't know what is. Sorry about that. I just I froze I gave you the blue screen of death.
So Marcelo, make a game with the words no matter.
Oh, the 5 course
no
art
matter,
track.
No matter the problem you have with the 5 course art track, Matt and Thiago, it will be a piece of cake.
Yeah, that's true. So I didn't, if you guys want a link to the 5 course art track, I can provide that as well. That's the bigger package. You get I'll put this in the link. Right now we have it 25% off as well for the next 3 days. Here, I'll put this in the private chat.
Okay.
Thiago. So the 5 course art track contains the time series, and then it contains the 4 other courses that are needed to like take you the full way through the system. And the 5 course art track. So like if you're a complete beginner, or even if you're intermediate, it'll still help. It'll help you a ton. That is like the system. It'll take you 6 months to complete it, but by week 8, you're able to apply to business analyst jobs. By I think month 3, you're able to apply to data science jobs because you'll have time series and data science down. And then by month 6, you're able to get promoted to senior data scientist because cloud, you'll know how to build Shiny apps. So that's the advantage of that system. It's like a turnkey, streamlined system. You just take one course after the other, and you end up crushing data science.
Excellent. It's a great opportunity. Yeah. So people who can achieve it, it's very nice. Yeah. So Eric said that you can start a Math Fan Club.
Hey,
a lot of Brazilians know your job. You are really amazing.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
it's the really the defining of shine. Yeah, you shine. Very, very nice.
Well, I'll tell you though, like, you guys see all of the accomplishments and everything, and that's what a lot of people I think focus on. But the journey is really what I think is important to understand. Is that, like, I didn't start out, I had to learn R from scratch, just like everybody else. I fell in love with the language. It's been really, like I said, I've been lucky to learn it. But there's been a lot of ups and downs with it. I will tell you this, getting thrown into a job and trying to figure out R for the first time, and trying to just make sense of everything. So it can take a while. Like, it took me about 5 years, honestly, to feel confident with it. I think you guys can do it a lot faster though, especially like, just learn from people.
The networking, it's pay the course. Yeah. So a lot of people on the road. Yeah. Different people, amazing professionals in the world. Yeah. In your community. Yeah. So it's pay the course. Yeah. The networking, pay the course. It's very, very nice.
Yeah, the courses are there to help you do what it took me 5 years to do in 6 months. So I mean, that's really the purpose. Like, if you want to up the game and get things done faster, they will help you. Again, it's not for everyone. Make sure you can commit about 10 hours per week is what I recommend, and make sure that you have the next 6 months free if you go for the 5 courses. If you go for just a time series, it'll just take you probably the next 8 weeks or so. But the time series is actually the biggest course of the 5, and there's a lot of content in that one.
Great. So people said that was amazing. Yeah, it was. Also, Henrique, it was very nice to have different experience in acquiring knowledge. Thank you for the live, Matt.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, I appreciate it, and thanks for tuning in. Yeah,
it was really, really amazing. Yeah. So people, do you have a question for Matt about the course, about the live?
About anything, Modeltime, time TK, whatever.
Yeah. So it's have a little delay of StreamYard and the YouTube. Just see. Okay. So do you have LinkedIn? Yeah, so people can follow you. Yeah,
sure,
your job.
Sure.
Yes. I've put on the description. Yeah, your LinkedIn, and I will put the link. Yeah. So
let me do. I'll send you the LinkedIn if you guys want to follow me. If you guys are interested in business science, let me put you. So probably the easiest thing is just to sign up for the our R tips. So that's what everyone loves. Let me do R tips. If you sign up for, let me make sure. Yeah, do this. This is the one right here. So if you sign up for our R tips newsletter, that usually like every week, and sometimes it's every 2 weeks because we'll put a Python tip in there every once in a while. But every week you'll end up getting a new R tip, and it's just kind of nice if you're interested in that sort of thing. Just getting every a week something new to keep you on top of what you're learning. So yeah, we have lots of R tips. I think we're up to like 65 or 70 of them now.
The link is in private chat. Tips letter, yeah.
All right, perfect.
Our tips newsletter, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that and if you subscribe to that, then you get all sorts of fun stuff. We do a lot of cool art tips. Sometimes you'll also get emails on any of the labs, learning labs that we do, which you can attend live for free. You'll be in the know.
Very, very nice. So Marcelo said, no question, just would like to really thank you for your time and knowledge sharing.
You
And
are
really
very
appreciate.
welcome. Yeah, you're very welcome, Marcelo. I really appreciate you tuning in and spending some time with me and investing in yourself tonight. Putting the time in to learn about my Modeltime and Time2K packages.
Oh, it was really, really amazing. Yeah. So you make this live is for Rick, yeah?
What's that?
For free? Do you make these lives for free?
Yeah.
One of week.
So I do. It's actually, so there's a membership program, which is if you want access to the previous live labs. But if you attend, like the next one we're getting ready to do, or the one that we just did a week ago, was how to go from Excel to R for risk analysis and simulation, Monte Carlo simulation. So we do them live for free. Anybody can attend live. But if you miss it, then it goes into a membership service, and then we're up to like 70 labs now. And it's $29 a month, and you get access to all of the labs. It's kind of like keeps you learning, keeps continually developing your skills.
So Eric said, thank you, Matt, for helping so many people.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome. Yeah. No, it's my pleasure. I love this stuff. I'll be honest. I love training data scientists and helping and developing new software too. That's one of my passions. I'm just excited because I can do that through I've been lucky enough to be able to do open source software as part of what our business science mission is. Yeah.
Teaching is amazing. Yeah. You can help a lot of people. Yeah. It's the best profession. Yeah. I think it's don't have a profession that's with the feedback of you receive. Yeah, it's very, very nice. Yeah. I'm really a patient. Yeah. To my profession. I think you are too, because you make the ecosystem. Yeah. To improve the people, and you are really your job is amazing. Don't have words to see how amazing it is. Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it. Well, yeah, no, it's like teaching is. So I got into consulting, and I very quickly saw, there were a lot of things that I saw like I could add value to companies, but like it ended up being actually teaching their data analysts, how to do certain things, and that's what I ended up doing. Like when I would provide them something, I'd also try and show them like, hey, this is, what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. So that's really where I saw like, hey, teaching is something that for me, it was more in line. I ended up kind of transitioning pretty quickly from consulting to teaching, and then just started creating the courses, and the rest is history. It's been a lot of fun. We're now up to I think almost 3,000 students, which it's crazy because just a few years ago I had like 30.
And so, you can talk about your channel either. Yeah. So you have a nice channel.
Oh yeah, the YouTube channel. Yeah. So YouTube channel. If you guys want to check that out too, we're on YouTube now. I need to get back to posting the. So if I think if I put this in here, how's this? So YouTube, what we do, we'll upload videos like ggplot2. This is one of our R tips. Spark and R, we did a master class on. we try to give out a lot of free content on the YouTube channel. This one's a month ago, so I need to get back in there and put another video out. I think Python's up next, so we got to do another Python video. Otherwise, my Python people will get mad at me.
Marcelo asked you, curiosity, do you have students from how many countries?
It's like up to 50 now. We have 50 different countries, predominantly US, Canada, UK, Australia. We do have some in Brazil. We have some in Latin America. We have a lot of students over in Europe too. So we get them from like all the different countries over there. And it's tough to keep track of Europe because Europe's like there's so many different countries. But I would venture to guess probably a third of our students are over in Europe as well. So
I think Atos Damiani is your student, yeah?
What's that?
Atos Damiani, da curso R course.
How many what I'm sorry, what's the question?
Atos Damiani is your student, I think. It's a person, a very nice professor in Brazil. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We have a lot of professors and educators. There's actually another one over in we get all sorts of people, everyone from beginners to experts in these courses. Now, like a lot of the professors that have PhDs, they may take the more advanced courses, but a lot of the beginners, the beauty of the system is you can just start from the beginning and work your way up, and then gain the same knowledge that a lot of these experts. I will tell you this too: a lot of data scientists, they might be intermediate, and what they want to learn is Shiny as well. So that's one of like my kind of hidden strengths, because I don't know if you guys have ever been on my website before. Let me see. I think it's right here. So this website, I actually built this all from HTML and CSS and Bootstrap. So I manage the entire website, and the cool thing is that like, when you build a website, you learn how to do HTML and CSS and Bootstrap. Well, that's the same skills you need to have in order to do Shiny apps. So a lot of these professors, they'll come and learn Shiny from me because I've had so much experience just from building websites to actually be able to teach them how to do like pretty nice looking apps. All right. Well, if you guys have any other questions, yeah, feel free. Otherwise, we can maybe let them go and have a good evening. I'm not sure. It's 6:00 your time?
Yeah, and the discount is until the live finish, yeah?
Yeah. Well, the discount, they can have that until Friday. Friday is when the Black Friday special is over. They can have that, but it expires, I believe, Friday at midnight. I want to say midnight Eastern time, so 11 CST if you're Central time.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have many questions, people. So Marina said that just want to thank you for your time. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, Marina.
I have to say, very thank you for your presentation, yeah, and the contribution of the community in general, yeah. It's really a job that make the difference, yeah. And when we share knowledge, yeah, and it returns for us, yeah, because you help people to improve in your career, yeah, and it's very nice thing, yeah, and we'll be back, yeah,
Oh,
about it. It's very nice. Thank
yeah,
you very
it's
much, and come back when do you want, yeah.
okay. Well, yeah, whenever you want to have me, I'll definitely hop back on. I appreciate it, Thiago.
Oh, very nice. It was really a pleasure. Yeah, it was a honor for us, and thank you very much. We will make a certification, yeah, for you with
Oh,
5 stars. Yeah, the
okay.
people will have the certification either, but not 5 stars. Yeah, but yeah, but this
uh,
amazing live. Yeah, who wants the certification can tip the form, yeah, and we will uh, uh, send the certification, yeah, and follow the job of Matt, yeah, see the live of Matt. Yeah, I will try to reserve my schedule, yeah, for see some webinars, yeah. I think the time is very nice, yeah. I didn't work it about a lot of with time series, yeah, but the theme is very nice, yeah, and I want to learn, yeah, and in the future I will be your student, of course, yeah.
oh,
Thank
I
you very
appreciate
much.
it. You're welcome. Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. And whenever you want to have me back, I'm more than happy to hop back on.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
See you.
See you. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.